an off-duty police officer. Now, remember, off-duty. He's just driving. But this off-duty police officer, he believes he's on duty, and he actually says he's on duty 24/7. Well, this off-duty police officer in Rutherford County, Tennessee, has now been arrested. He's been arrested for aggravated assault. Well, he claims that someone cut him off on the road, and he decided to pursue this individual as if this person committed some type of felony act and he was on duty. Not only did he pursue the driver that he claims cut him off, the chase, and it was a chase, went to 120 miles per hour. No kidding. Eventually, the guy being chased pulled over. He just sees there's a crazy man who has decided to chase him down the highway. He pulls over. This cop gets out of his car, pulls his gun, and here it is.
I'm gonna film it.
911, what's the emergency?
I'm on Shiloh and Medical Center. There's a guy with a gun drawn right here in a Holiday Inn. He's pointing at a man. He's screaming at him right now. He's telling him to get on the ground. He's not doing anything. We need the police.
Hold on, because you're within the city limits, okay?
Not on duty. You can't. Doesn't matter. I am on duty 24/7.
This cop's saying he's on duty 24/7.
Get on the ground. Get on the ground.
Man,
police. I can't believe it.
Okay, I need you to hold on.
I am. He's an off-duty cop.
My jurisdiction.
Okay, well, I'm just explaining what's happening. He has his gun drawn to the guy. We're not hearing him.
You've been on my ass. How did I almost hit you? Reckless driving as well. So, man, this guy pulled a gun on me just because
I'm on the phone with him recording. He's telling the guy to get on the ground. He's at gunpoint. He's an off-duty, looks like an off-duty police officer.
Deckard Police Department.
He's not even from this county.
You're by the Holiday Inn, right?
Yeah, right in front of. It's a 4x4 Dodge Ram.
It's a road rage.
It's like a road rage incident.
He's not even from this area.
He's not from the area.
Ridiculous, insane. This is the treatment of another citizen by a road rage cop who has now been arrested for aggravated assault. Officer Ward is his name. Ward, who was off duty at the time, flashed his badge and signaled for the driver to slow down. The two men exchanged words before Ward pursued the driver at 120 miles per hour until they both exited onto Medical Center Parkway and turned into Silo Hill Lane, according to the police report. Investigators said that after both men got out of their vehicles, Ward pulled out his gun. Thank God for the individual who was recording this entire matter. Now, here are some issues I have immediately. Number one, he was arrested and then allowed to resign by that police department. The police department did not fire him. The police department did not make an example out of him. The police department allowed him to resign. Now, in addition to that, we are unsure if this individual will actually be held accountable for a crime. Yes, he has been charged, but we do not know if he will lose his post certification or if he will actually be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And here's how I feel about police officers. Anytime you hold a position of public trust, you should not be held to a basic standard of care and liability. You should be held to a higher standard of care and liability. Let me give you an example. As if a person is a medical doctor, as a medical doctor, they are held to a higher standard of care. If they are a psychiatrist, they are held to a higher standard of care. But for some reason, police officers, they want to hold everyone else to a higher standard of accountability but themselves. And they hide behind these rules and laws and statutes under qualified immunity doctrine. Makes no damn sense whatsoever. To chop some of this up and to break it down with me, I got John, I got the damage report on Indisputable. Y'all can't handle all this.
Hopefully they'll be able to figure out a way, because I like it here already. I want to stay here. Very excited to be brought onto the show, Dr. Richey. Thank you.
Man, what are your thoughts, man? I appreciate you being on the show. What are your thoughts about this? And I was looking at your reaction when you saw this extreme aggression out of this guy. What went through your mind?
I mean, I think that I'm the bad guy, that I'm surprised by what I saw there. Why am I still surprised by what I saw there? I guess I don't. I cannot I tried. I'm a lefty. I'm trying to put myself in the position of people in the news, like trying to be compassionate. That's a component of it. I don't understand how these people think that the things they do are acceptable, that you can treat people in this way, that he thought he could get away with it. Now I get one of the reasons he thought he could get away with it in terms of the system is because lots of people in his position do get away with it. And one has to wonder, absent the cell phone camera, like, would he still have his job? Would he have been forced to resign if there had just been a story about this, if it wasn't something you could actually see? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's 100% accurate. Number one, if this guy would do all of this, he'll make up a lie as to why he did it, right? So he would just make up a false narrative and say, hey, I had to do it because this individual did A, B, and C, which if you don't have video showing that he didn't, is now your word against the police. And 100 times out of 100 times, the cop wins in that scenario. So thank God for this woman. And by the way, this woman had a lot of skill, brother. She called 911 and recorded. I don't know how the hell she did that. She needs to teach seminars and classes. But she called 911 and recorded the incident and was able to provide significant context and narration to what was happening. So everything fit together when the gentleman told his side of the story, and they did execute an arrest warrant. But here's what else goes through my mind. If this would have been a black male, because remember, the individual who is being accosted by this cop, he's not getting down on the ground because he doesn't even see what's the problem. I don't care if you're an off-duty cop. That doesn't bother me. I did nothing illegal. But I wonder what would have happened if this individual would have been, in fact, a person of color. That goes through my mind routinely when I see things like this from cops.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder in both cases. I mean, how much worse could the cops' potential reaction have been in that? And what if it was an off-duty black cop and someone else came by and saw just a person, plain clothes, pointing a gun at that white guy? What would the reaction have been? I honestly don't know. I hope nothing. I don't know. I worry for anyone who gets involved in these sorts of situations. As we were watching that video, I was worried for the woman in the situation.
Yeah.
Because she's filming it and she has this idea already that it's probably an off-duty cop. That's what the guy seems to be saying. That does not mean he won't do something crazy. I mean, she's literally watching him rage out on some guy. She could justifiably be very worried about what his reaction might be to her. He's got a gun, she's very close. And so as in almost all of these cases, it is incredibly brave for someone to be willing to risk their property being destroyed or their own physical safety in filming something like this and letting us know about it. And it's so important because, as you pointed out, you can't trust the cops' written statements about this. Look at what the initial statement about George Floyd was before the video came out. You had no idea what had happened based on that. And I apologize, I forget the name of the individual who was killed, I think in 2019, the video just came out. They said that he crashed into a tree and died on impact. No, they dragged him out, they beat him to death. And we only know that, thankfully, because the video was eventually released. So thank you to all the people who are willing to risk such danger to make sure that we know what's really going on.
Yeah, that incident you're talking about in 2019, that video was released by way of a leak because the investigation was ongoing, and they were basically using the ongoing investigation terminology to stop the video from being released. Somebody leaked it. And also, to your point, you don't know exactly what will go down every time. But I'm gonna say this, man, and you can say it's political, that's fine. I promise you that cop voted for Trump. And there's an ideology connected to these individuals. I would put good money on that, all right? That's just where I'm at.